Hello, I'm Heather Reams, Chair of National Clean Energy Week, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the 7th Annual National Clean Energy Week Policymakers Symposium. National Clean Energy Week is a celebration of the innovations and policies that power our daily lives while reducing carbon emissions. The Policymakers Symposium is a collaborative venue to share and challenge ideas about how to make a clean energy transition. Sometimes we agree, and other times we don't. But what we found in previous years at this symposium is that there is a lot of common ground among policymakers, industries, and stakeholders. To that end, we have an exciting lineup of panelists and policymakers this week that are sure to spark important discussions and motivate you to do more to advance clean energy. And for the first time since 2019, I am thrilled that the symposium has brought back in-person programming. We also continue our virtual programming so that more participants can be part of this very special week. Next, I want to extend a sincere thank you to all of our sponsors. Without you, National Clean Energy Week would not be possible. I also want to highlight what's at stake. We are all experiencing climate change more than ever before, which makes it urgent to address these challenges head on. I am encouraged by the growth of American-made clean energy in the past and look forward to continuing to advance clean energy policies. As a country, we need to continue to foster innovation while reducing barriers to deploy more clean energy. We must modernize our energy grid to increase resiliency and ensure we can provide reliable, affordable, and clean power to families and businesses across the country. Over the next 3 days, we'll hear from expert panelists, members of Congress, and featured guests from the administration about how the United States should and can advance solutions to these challenges. And their collaboration with clean energy innovators, investors, and advocates is key to charting a clean energy future that benefits our environment, economy, and communities. I hope you find this symposium educational and worthwhile, and I invite you to join us in the recognition of all that clean energy can offer: energy independence, economic prosperity, and a more peaceful world. Finally, I want to underscore that National Clean Energy Week is dedicated to bipartisanship because we believe that clean energy is not a red or blue issue. It is indeed a red, white, and blue issue.
Hello, I'm United States Senator Joe Manchin, Chairman of the Senate Energy and Natural Resources Committee and Senior Senator for the great state of West Virginia. While I wish I could be there in person, I would like to thank the Chair of National Clean Energy Week, Heather Reams, for inviting me to speak today. Over the past few years, Congress has passed historic laws, including the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law and the Inflation Reduction Act, that have established an all-of-the-above energy policy that will increase domestic production and onshore our energy supply chains while reducing emissions. Through all of these laws, I have been focused on my belief that we can only innovate, not eliminate, our way to a cleaner environment. The Bipartisan Infrastructure Law includes $12 billion for carbon capture, utilization, and sequestration projects, $4.7 billion to plug, remediate, and reclaim orphan wells, and $8 billion for at least 4 hydrogen hubs to demonstrate the production and use of clean hydrogen. And the IRA provides tax credits and other incentives to deploy CCUS, hydrogen, methane emissions reduction technologies, and to make other investments in our fossil fuel infrastructure to increase efficiencies and reduce emission. By investing in technology to produce and use oil, gas, and coal in the cleanest way possible, while also providing incentives to bring manufacturing for solar, wind, nuclear, batteries, and more back to America, the IRA will help maintain the United States' status as a global superpower while investing in all of our energy and mineral resources. In West Virginia, we're already seeing the benefits of the IRA's all-of-the-above approach to energy production. Berkshire Hathaway Renewables, Form Energy, Competitive Power Ventures, and Adams Fork have all announced projects in West Virginia that represents billions of dollars in investments and will bring thousands of jobs to the Mountain State. Similar announcements are being made across the nation every day as a direct result of the IRA. And this summer, Congress took an important first step in the Fiscal Responsibility Act to accelerate NEPA review process and put more common sense into getting energy projects built in the future. I am committed to pursuing additional permitting reforms and remain committed to passing bipartisan common sense, all of the above energy legislation that will strengthen our energy and national security while delivering reliable, affordable energy to all Americans. As you spend a week working on these issues and more, I hope that you recognize the benefits and opportunities in these laws and continue to help Congress identify solutions to the challenges that you're facing. Thank you, and may God bless the great state of West Virginia and each one of you.
Hi, I'm U.S. Senator Chris Coons from Delaware. Thank you to the Citizens for Responsible Energy Solutions for giving me the chance to speak to your Policymakers Symposium during this Clean Energy Week. As you know, Congress has made significant investments with the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, the CHIPS and Science Act, and the Inflation Reduction Act to tackle climate change, achieve economy-wide decarbonization, and drive innovation. Right now, our focus is on implementing these laws and the green energy projects emerging in every state across our country. We've seen strong support from local, state, and federal officials from across the aisle who are excited about the transition to a green economy and the good-paying jobs that will come with it. This includes the SCALE Act, which I led with Senator Cassidy of Louisiana. It was included as a part of the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law. It established a $2 billion program within the U.S. Department of Energy to provide financial support to develop infrastructure for carbon dioxide transport and storage. It ensures we can get carbon dioxide from where it's captured or removed to where it can be utilized or stored safely underground. Clean hydrogen also received a significant boost through the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law and the Inflation Reduction Act. As you know, hydrogen's particularly good for decarbonizing sectors that are difficult to electrify, heavy industrial sectors like the production of steel, cement, and glass, as well as shipping. Clean hydrogen can help reduce pollution in communities, create high-quality jobs, and ensure American energy security. In fact, competition's underway right now for hydrogen hubs across our country. This is an $8 billion program that will spur hydrogen development, connect producers and end users, and start the build-out of a national clean hydrogen network. There's huge demand for this program. There were nearly 80 concept papers submitted, 33 encouraged to move forward, and ultimately soon 6 to 10 hubs will be selected. Further on the hydrogen front, alongside Republican Senator John Cornyn of Texas, I've introduced a package of 4 hydrogen bills, the Hydrogen Infrastructure Initiative, to fill gaps in our current investments. It would expand further investment in hydrogen demand, focusing on ports, industry, and truck fleets. As co-founder and co-chair of the Bipartisan Senate Climate Solutions Caucus, I believe there's no shortage of opportunities for cooperation across the aisle, and there's a path forward to continue building momentum for decarbonization policies. I'm excited about the opportunity to use trade tools to address climate change, and together with Republican Senator Kevin Cramer of North Dakota, I've introduced the Prove It Act to study the emissions intensity of U.S. manufactured goods compared to our foreign competitors. This bill will shine a light on countries with weak environmental standards so we can hold them accountable. I'm also excited about the decarbonization opportunities in concrete, cement, and asphalt, the world's most used building materials. I'm focused on building bipartisan support for policies that sustain research, development, demonstration, and adoption of low-carbon concrete and asphalt, including performance-based incentives. I'm convinced that even in a divided Congress, there are opportunities. We must take advantage of them, and I look forward to working with all of you to fight climate change, decarbonize the industrial sector, and further drive innovation. Thank you.
Well, greetings to all of you gathered there to celebrate National Clean Energy Week at the Citizens for Responsible Energy Solutions Forum. And boy, do I wish I could be with you today. It's a great group of friends, and I love being with you all, but the schedule didn't allow it this time. You know, as a member of the Senate Environment and Public Works Committee, I have this great honor of working with colleagues to advocate for state and personal property rights, reliable and affordable energy, and yes, you can have both, and innovative technology incentives to support the continued environmental improvement of our vast and very diverse energy sector. You know, I really truly do believe in an all-the-above energy approach, and I believe it's essential to responsibly develop the natural resources in not just my state of North Dakota, but the entire nation. As you all know, in June, Senator Coons and I introduced the Prove It Act, which highlights the vital role Americans play in advancing clean energy and manufacturing, and it provides really an opportunity to make meaningful reforms to our trade practices by directing the federal government to collect data showing our emissions excellence and the poor emissions performance of global polluters. In many cases, in pretty much every case, are competitors. So this bill will give credit where credit is due. The American innovators and workers who produce goods under the cleanest standards in the world. Looking ahead, federal permitting reform is something that Congress should get done. Whether it's pipelines, transmission lines, oil rigs, wind farms, whatever, project developers need certainty in the permitting process so they can reliably invest in our nation's economy. You know, I've always rejected the notion that every transaction requires a loser. I believe we can reach a deal which benefits all energy technologies and meets the demand of our growing and diverse economy. I have the high honor of representing an all-the-above energy-producing state, which is also a national leader in environmental stewardship. In North Dakota, we love our air and we love our water, and every day I aim to make the nation more like North Dakota. I hope you enjoy the forum and engaging with your fellow leaders. And if I can ever be of assistance, as always, please don't hesitate to reach out. My door is always open to you. Take care and God bless you.
Hi, I'm U.S. Congresswoman Debbie Lesko from Arizona's 8th Congressional District. Thank you to Citizens for Responsible Energy Solutions for arranging this symposium and inviting me to be part of National Clean Energy Week. Also, thank you to all of the attendees for being here to discuss such an important issue. Let me begin by looking at the bigger picture. Today, here in D.C., the topic of energy is synonymous with climate. One side thinks that the only way to achieve unrealistic Biden administration climate goals is to eliminate fossil fuels altogether. This is simply unachievable. We as a country forget the fact that energy, which includes fossil fuels, is what currently fuels most of our lifestyle and our economy. We should celebrate the fact that the United States has led the world in reducing emissions and investing in clean technologies, all while growing the economy, reducing energy costs, and becoming more secure. We can continue to be the world's leader by embracing a diverse energy portfolio that encourages reliable, affordable, and clean energy from all sources. Government mandates are not the answer. Some proposals we hear from this administration are simply unrealistic. The United States is at an advantage. We are blessed with an abundance of energy here in the United States, including oil, natural gas, coal, solar, and wind. No other country in the world is so blessed. That's why I believe it is important to innovate and not eliminate any source of energy. Biden's own Energy Information Administration projects that in 2050, over 80% of the world's energy usage will be based on fossil fuels. It's simply unrealistic to think we will eliminate fossil fuels in our lifetime. We should double down on the innovation-focused approach that unleashes entrepreneurs, not a top-down approach dictated by government. Nearly 90% of global emissions originate outside the United States. Innovation that both reduces emissions and costs is vital to addressing global emissions. Technologies that are not affordable will not be adopted globally, and emissions will be continued to rise. Solutions must be affordable in both Arizona and India. My energy priorities are pretty simple. Energy must be reliable and affordable, and we should continue the U.S.'s work to keep it clean. Just last week, our Energy and Commerce Committee held hearings on reliability. As new intermittent sources are added to our grid, we must ensure that we don't move too quickly by eliminating reliable fossil-based baseload power. Our economy and the life and safety of our citizens requires a power grid that is stable and reliable. I also want reliability for the critical minerals that are essential for future wind and solar projects. It makes no sense to rely on unreliable sources of critical minerals such as China when we can produce them here in the United States with the world's highest environmental standards. We must also continue to use our natural resources in a cleaner manner, including utilizing the power of hydrogen from many sources, including nuclear. That's why I've introduced legislation. I've introduced H.R. 2962, the Hydrogen Permitting Simplification Act. The bill provides categorical exclusions under the National Environmental Protection Act, also known as NEPA, for any hydrogen project that utilizes zero-emission baseload energy. I also plan to introduce the Advancing Hydrogen Power Research and Development Act to require DOE and FERC to identify barriers to the deployment of hydrogen as a fuel source and report the results to Congress. American-made energy is the cleanest in the world. And all of the above approach ensures that we are not turning to countries like Russia, Iran, or Venezuela for fossil fuels, which are dirtier and undermine our energy security. I look forward to working together with you and the Citizens for Responsible Energy Solutions to achieve these goals. I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you and God bless you.
Hi everyone, I'm Congressman David Valadao. It's an honor to address you all during National Clean Energy Week. America has some of the greatest energy resources of any nation in the world. These abundant resources help to create millions of jobs across our country, strengthen our national security, and bring down consumer prices. But these benefits are only possible if we implement common sense policies that strike a balance between allowing energy producers to do their jobs while also preserving our natural environment. Whether it's oil, natural gas, coal, wind, nuclear, solar, or hydropower, the U.S. has enough energy resource to provide all Americans with low-cost, reliable energy for generations. I'm committed to working towards this diverse, all-the-above approach to ensure long-term stability in our energy markets. But I don't just support increasing American energy production because it's good for prices and our national security. When America produces energy, we do it cleaner, safer, and in a more environmentally responsible manner than nearly all other major producers around the world. We are truly leaders in the global stewardship. As Americans continue to struggle with keeping up with rising energy costs, my colleagues and I in the House are committed to passing legislation that strengthens American energy production. The best way to strengthen our energy security is to reduce the bureaucratic red tape that surrounds our energy industry, and to put an end to the frivolous litigation that blocks the development of America's vast energy resources. This year, I was proud to support H.R. 1, the Lower Energy Costs Act, a major piece of legislation that streamlines the energy permitting process, increases energy infrastructure and exports, and boosts the production and processing of critical minerals. I am also proud that my bill, the NEPA Adequacy Streamlining Act, was included in this package. This bill will speed up the energy project approval process by cutting red tape, approving more NEPA applications, and expanding the number of new energy development sites across the country. In addition to reforming our permitting process, I'm focused on improving the Rural Energy in America program, which helps small businesses and farmers stay alive and remain competitive by investing in renewable energy and energy efficiency projects. I've also introduced the bipartisan COWS Act, a bill that will make renewable energy technology more widely available to our world-leading dairy producers. America is a leader on energy innovation, and my home state of California has abundant natural energy resources. In addition to the oil and gas fields in Kern County, I've gone out to several solar farms in my district and even toured Diablo Canyon nuclear plant just a few weeks ago. It's amazing to see firsthand the innovation of our energy producers, like so many of the people in this room today. Thank you all for your efforts to provide clean, affordable energy to millions of Americans. Happy Clean Energy Week.
Great to have such strong leadership in Congress. Thanks to our distinguished speakers for their efforts in advancing clean energy solutions and for their partnership in National Clean Energy Week. I'm Chrissy Harbin, Vice President of External Affairs at CRES Forum, and I'm delighted to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Jeff Marootian, Senior Advisor for Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy in the Office of the Secretary at the U.S. Department of Energy. The DOE has an important mission to ensure America's security and prosperity by addressing its energy, environmental, and nuclear challenges through transformative science and technology solutions. Jeff, thank you for joining us.
Hello, I am Jeff Marootian, Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary for Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy at the Department of Energy. I am so pleased to have the opportunity to address you virtually today. There has truly never been a busier time for clean energy. When President Biden took office, he made clean energy a priority, and he backed it up with action. There is no better evidence of that than 3 pieces of legislation that have transformed the clean energy landscape for decades to come. The Bipartisan Infrastructure Law provided so much DOE funding that we realigned the organization, launching a new Undersecretary of Infrastructure and creating the Joint Office of Energy and Transportation. The Inflation Reduction Act, which is the single largest investment in climate action in our nation's history, a whopping $369 billion to modernize the American energy system. And finally, the CHIPS and Science Act, which invests over $50 billion to boost domestic manufacturing. And under the leadership of Secretary Granholm, we are moving at full speed to implement these historic laws. With the implementation of the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law and the Inflation Reduction Act together, we can reduce emissions by approximately a gigaton by 2030. Meanwhile, the CHIPS and Science Act will make that possible by ensuring that we have the supply chain, materials, manufacturing, and workforce to accomplish our targets. But what I think makes this legislation truly unique is that the energy and climate money isn't just going into early stage research and development. This investment is for infrastructure, workforce development, demonstration, and implementation. So it's being funneled directly back into American communities. DOE has historically been a world-class institution for research and development, with tremendous leadership from our 17 national labs. The Biden-Harris administration has made demonstration and deployment a priority so that these advancements can be de-risked, commercialized, and brought to scale. And we're being thoughtful and purposeful in the way that we are implementing these provisions. Under Secretary Granholm's leadership, DOE and the federal government have a renewed objective to ensure that all of this funding and our programs, all of our standards, are benefiting all Americans. In addition to the economic benefits, a clean energy transition also provides a social and environmental benefit. That's why clean energy is truly bipartisan, something that is reflected in the speakers and the attendees of National Clean Energy Week. But if we want widespread adoption of clean energy, we have to consider not just who the clean energy benefits, but how Americans are interacting with the technology and the infrastructure. Our job is to give people the services they want at a price they can afford with the infrastructure that they want. It's to make people's lives better. Already, we have seen some incredibly promising results. We are bringing manufacturing back to the United States in a huge way. We are enabling Americans to design, manufacture, transport, install, and use clean energy technologies of the future. In just the first year of the Inflation Reduction Act being law, the private sector has invested $110 billion in clean energy manufacturing in the United States, in communities all across the country. Additionally, our most recent models show that the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law and the Inflation Reduction Act together are positioned to save up to $38 billion for Americans' electricity bills. But we cannot tackle this alone. When we talk about an all-of-the-above approach to a clean energy transition, we don't just mean the federal government. We mean states and local governments, the private sector, investments, innovators, academia, business leaders, trade associations. We mean you. We all have a role to play. We all have a lot of work to do to achieve our clean energy goals, and we look forward to working with you as we transition to a clean energy system that benefits all Americans. Thank you.